Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on Toned In Entertainment, where we love pop culture. Today, it's time for another retro comic book series review. And in this video, well, two of my favorite pop culture icons are gonna go head to head with the Terminator and Robocop. Now, this series has a T for teen rating, but let me tell you, after reading through all 4 issues, I definitely wouldn't recommend this for anybody under the age of 18. There's plenty of violence, there's some foul language, and drug references. Now, since I have all 4 issues here, I'm not going to be reviewing each comic individually, but I'm going to be doing it as an entire series. All right, guys, let's get on with my retro comic book series review of Terminator Robocop Kill Humans, released back in 2011. Now, issue number 1 is going to take place in the future, where the humans have received a major butt kicking by the machines. After their friend Taylor was crushed right before their eyes, Lauren and Deshawn will be doing everything possible just to stay alive, and with good reason, as it's been months since they've heard from another human, and they fear that they might actually be the last humans remaining. As the two find a building they hope will be safe for them to hold down, if for at least temporarily, Deshawn will do everything he can, but as Lauren works frantically, Deshawn will let out his final words: "Lauren, love you, girl." Now, Lauren will be able to get inside the building, but this is no ordinary safe haven, as she's actually found herself inside of an old Skynet museum. As Lauren takes a look around, she sees a plethora of robot weaponry from the past. Weaponry she hopes will still work. As Lauren tries to hack the museum security, she finds herself in the grasp of a machine. But the little hacking she was able to do was enough, as it will provide her the assistance she desperately needs, as Robocop has been released from his slumber and is ready to protect and serve. And even though Robocop has come to Lauren's rescue, she's still pondering whether or not he is one of them, or is he actually human. With very little time to explain, he tells Lauren that his name is Murphy and to stand behind him. We find out through some dialogue between Lauren and Robocop that it's been quite some time since he's been active, and he asks Lauren, "Are we in Old Detroit?" And Lauren replies, "What? No, that was a city, right? They wiped out all the cities a very long time ago, generations ago." Lauren and Robocop will make their way over to a computer system where she will try and hack it, but will be unsuccessful. Robocop decides to take over, and he has to act quickly as the machines have surrounded them. But all of a sudden, dozens of rounds go off, the machines begin to drop, and it's revealed that Robocop has been able to activate the 209 to come to their aid. Through Robocop's hacking, he tells Lauren that Skynet believes that she is the last human alive. But Lauren disagrees and is insistent that there are others and they will find them. They just can't wipe out all of humanity. But before Lauren can get any further, Robocop says, "Please don't." Lauren replies, "What did you say, Murphy?" And unfortunately for Lauren, those will be her final words as she's terminated by Robocop. And even though Robocop is standing there holding a smoking gun, on the final page, he's in the midst of a stare down with a swarm of machines. Now, as we jump into issue number 2, we've got the T-800 on the cover, standing back to back with Robocop, and the T-800 is saying, "Come with me," and Robocop is saying, "Or there will be trouble." As this issue begins, we will meet 2 unknown men in the past. One man named Newton, who has got himself into too much debt, and the other man has come to collect. But before this man can collect this debt, he's ripped to shreds by an explosion. And the reason for this explosion? Well, Robocop has just showed up in this timeline. With bigger fish to fry than a low-life criminal, Robocop goes on with his pursuit to stop something terrible happening. Later that night, chaos has broken out, and all the officers that are available are being dispatched, and Robocop will also make his presence known. Now, who's causing this ruckus? Well, it's the T-800, of course, with a machine gun in hand. Now, while the cops seem to be outnumbered from the rounds of the T-800, there's another officer on a bike that comes into the picture. Now, before we see how it unfolds, we have to take a trip to the future, previously as Robocop is inside the Skynet mainframe. Robocop is demanding that the computer tell him how many humans are still alive, but it keeps giving him the same number: none. And Robocop will tell the computer, "You're wrong, there's one. Me, I'm human." But once again, he will be told, negative. Robocop then insists that he be told everything about Earth's history since the late 20th century onwards, along with Skynet's history and tactical movements. He wants to be told everything. Now Robocop is getting his wish, but it appears to be too much sensory overload for him to handle. Now Robocop will try to take out his anger, but will have little effect. Robocop says he needs to learn two things: how time travel works and how to escape the room. The CPU will go along with Robocop, which begs the question why he's receiving the assistance, as he's simply told that he's a computerized system and that he's not a threat. Now we're going to travel back to the past, where it's total chaos as the city has turned into a full-blown war zone. As Robocop goes to confront the T-800, he's haunted by the words, "You are a computerized system, you are not a threat." As you can see, the T-800 doesn't appreciate Robocop creeping up on him and gives him a piece of his mind with his fists. But Robocop will not back down, and even as the two battle it out, Robocop will have a brief moment of momentum. That is until the T-800 decides to show him just how big his gun is and blast him to the ground. But with a trick up his sleeve, Robocop will show the T-800 it's not the size of your weapon, but how you use it. Robocop blasts a dart-like device, hitting the T-800 and dropping him to the ground, where we find out that he was hit by a Skynet-built computer virus, and he's been completely shut down and his CPU wiped. Now we get our first glimpse of Sarah and John Connor, but the way she's pointing her weapon at Robocop, well, she doesn't seem to be too pleased by his actions. But Robocop will quickly try to explain to him that he's here to wipe out Skynet to save the human race, and tells them, "Come with me if you want to live. You have 10 seconds to comply." Now as issue number 3 begins, Robocop, Sarah, and John Connor are making their getaway inside of a police SWAT truck, but I don't think these three are going to be BFFs after this. Sarah is not very keen on the actions of Robocop, but these three will have to stop their bickering as the T-1000 inside a police chopper is hot on their trail. As Robocop drives recklessly, John is almost killed, which then leads Sarah to get in his face as she says, "You nearly got him killed." And Robocop replies, "That doesn't matter as long as you have the arm and the chip." Sarah doesn't take too well to the thought that the Terminator, who was sent to protect John, has been shut down, and that Robocop doesn't seem to care at all if John lives or dies. And Sarah's intuition is right as Robocop tells her, "John Connor's not why I'm here." And that's all Sarah Connor will need to hear as she fires around at Robocop, and she tells him, "Then you're not with us." And as Robocop is weakened by the blast, they toss him out the back of the truck like last week's garbage. However, Sarah and John's problems are far from over as the T-1000 is still hot on their trails. And during the pursuit, John and Sarah's getaway will come to a crashing halt. As Sarah and John look certain death in the face, the T-1000 is suddenly under fire. Now over this 2-page spread, we see that the T-1000's chopper is surrounded by dozens of 209s. As the 209s open fire, they send a bullet-ridden T-1000 spiraling out of control into a fiery crash. We will then see that it was Dick Jones, the CEO of Omni Consumer Products, who led up this assault. Dick Jones will ask Sarah if she still has the arm and the chip, and to come with him. A battered and beaten up Robocop hobbles back into the picture and tells Sarah and John that they can trust Dick Jones, that he's with him. Now, how exactly was Dick Jones prepared for this particular moment in time? Well, it appears that Robocop had traveled 5 years before this point in time and gave Dick Jones the schematics for the 209s so that his company could build them, as Robocop knew he would need backup. But this party between these four will have to continue at a later date, as the T-1000 is still alive, as they've only weakened it for now. As the four head towards a getaway plane, it seems that Sarah Connor has had a change in attitude about Robocop. As she asks him about Dick Jones, how can we trust him? And Robocop replies, "Because I created him." And that seems to be a good enough reason, as Sarah says, "Okay, we will come." Now, as they head off to safe haven, well, the T-1000 bursts out from the flames, showing us he hasn't been terminated. On the final page of issue 3, we see that Sarah, John, and Robocop have made it to an aircraft carrier and are safe. For now. Now, issue number 4 is going to be the epic conclusion of this miniseries. Will Sarah, John, and Robocop set sail into safety, or will the machines rise to victory? Dick Jones will lead them to a room he believes is completely sealed and nothing will be able to get out. Now, in addition to RoboCop, Dick Jones, Sarah, and John Connor, a bullet-ridden T-800 has also come along for the ride. Below the T-800 lies a tub of acid that can destroy all metal. As RoboCop goes to put the hand and the chip into the acid, Dick Jones makes one last ploy to RoboCop not to destroy it. That if his company had the opportunity to reverse engineer it, just think of the technological advances. But RoboCop will not take any chances as he believes all Skynet technology will be destroyed. And by all Skynet technology, he means that the T-800 must also be destroyed. But John Connor is just not going to let the T-800 perish as he makes an attempt to stop RoboCop, but is shooed away like a fly. Sarah pulls out her weapon and tells RoboCop, "Don't touch my son. Ever." With RoboCop looking down the barrel of Sarah Connor's gun, reinforcements enter telling Sarah to drop her weapon. And once again, they will have to put their bickering to the side as word has come in that the T-1000 has escaped and is coming for John, and it's time to weapon up. RoboCop and Sarah go outside on the ship's deck to look out for any possible trouble. Sarah then tells RoboCop, "You're trying to stop Skynet. You're protecting John. I guess I should thank you for that." But RoboCop will tell Sarah, "I'm trying to stop Skynet. You shouldn't thank me." And just as we have this feel-good moment, an explosion can be heard as a plane is seen plummeting down towards the ocean. And the cause of this explosion? Well, it's none other than the T-1000 crashing the party. The explosion from the plane has caused their battleship to begin to sink, sending John Connor plummeting down. As Sarah yells out for John, RoboCop releases his grasp and tells Sarah, "It'll take you too long to climb down. You're human." Inside the ship, the Marines are trying to figure out how to get to safety, but they will have no time for game planning as the T-1000 has infiltrated the ship and begins making shish kebabs out of the troops. The T-1000 is shot several times in the head, and we see that it was Dick Jones who was trying to stop him. Now, before the T-1000 can get his hands on Dick Jones, well, he gets all caught up by RoboCop and one of his wonderful toys. RoboCop tells the T-1000 to comply with this as he blows its head off. But within moments, the T-1000 repairs itself, morphs into the cockpit, and is showing RoboCop just how sharp his tools can be. As RoboCop is tossed out like a sack of potatoes, the T-1000 is rocked by several shots. And it's none other than the T-800 who has come to the rescue, and he's going to try to fulfill his mission of protecting John Connor. And how was the Terminator reactivated? Well, it was Dick Jones who used quite an interesting password. But once again, this will be no time for a happy reunion, as not only is the T-1000 after them, but the ocean water is also rising and it's mixed with the acid. Now, remember earlier when RoboCop said his mission was to stop Skynet and not protect John Connor? Well, we're gonna see he wasn't lying. As the Terminators battle it out amongst one another, RoboCop seals off the doors, not only stranding the Terminators, but also Dick Jones and John Connor. As Sarah yells, "No!" John's head is sliced off by the T-1000. Dick Jones swims over to the door and tries to plead with the human side of RoboCop as he tells him, Murphy, let me out, please! Please!" But as the battleship continues to sink and the water rises, Murphy tells Dick Jones the room has to stay sealed. As the ship sinks into the abyss, RoboCop and the T-1000 have a stare down. RoboCop begins to think to himself as to why Skynet let him go in the first place, that maybe it knew he would eliminate John Connor. But then all of RoboCop's thoughts will be gone, as the rest of the ship, with him still inside, will continue sinking to the bottom. Now, for my final score of the Terminator Robocop Kill Human, I'm gonna give this series a 9 out of 10. The series was fun and action-packed. Plus, I love the fact how they took one of my favorite movies of all time, Terminator 2, went into its storyline and shook things up. And when we reached the conclusion of this series, there was a satisfying ending, and at the same time left it open for more story possibilities. Alright guys, well that's gonna wrap up this retro comic book series review. Now for those of you who read this series, what are your thoughts on it? I really did enjoy it. I love comic book crossovers, and this one was definitely not a letdown. It was everything I could ask for. Now for those of you who have read other comic book crossovers, which ones should I check out? I'm definitely interested in checking out some other ones here in the future and reviewing them here on Toned In Entertainment. Alright guys, if you like videos like this, make sure you subscribe here to the channel for future videos.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.